So, good afternoon everybody, myself Acharya Vishvendra. In last video I discussed about the Par Brahma. So, Par Brahma is the ultimate, you can say that the ultimate source of everything. So you can visualize that, suppose Big Bang is like this, it got started and space is expanding like this in a conical shape. So the thing is that suppose this is the instant when Big Bang happened. So what was there before the Big Bang? So it is, according to the Vedas, it is the Par Brahma which was there even before the Big Bang and which created everything. So that Par Brahma, I feel that Par Brahma is the time, because time controls everything. Time is the factor which is moving everything, the driving force behind the motion, the driving force behind the change. Although we scientifically say that changes are because of a minimum state of energy and maximum randomness as per the law of entropy is concerned. But something is, actually doing things. There is something which is actually working. Energy transitions are an analysis of the facts, the event. It describes that suppose an event happened, you just do one thing, you just put an apple above the ground and you just lose it, you just make it to free fall. Ultimately it will reach to the ground. So this event explains that there is certainly energy transition. We explain this event by saying that potential energy decreases and there are forces on the apple because of earth, because of which it has a tendency to achieve a state of minimum energy. So that's an explanation for this particular event. But the thing here is that what causes gravity? Why gravity acts? Why forces act? What causes force to act? So that factor which causes things to happen, I think that is the time. So time is like an inducing factor which propels, which stimulates things to happen in a certain way. And as per energy is concerned, so energy is obviously, just think about energy. What is energy? If we go by the definition, energy is the capacity to do work. But in a way, to do work means you have to displace yourself, and displace means to change. So energy is the capacity by virtue of changes. And energy creates force. That's why energy gets transferred from one system to another. Take an example. Just think why you need to eat. You will answer that because we need to have energy. Now the question comes, why you need energy? So the answer is that because you need to do work. So ultimately things are fundamentally the conversion of energy and work. So this conversion of energy and work is a very fundamental process which is related to physics as the work energy theorem, which states that work done by all forces is equal to the change in kinetic energy. So that has got a physical significance. But the question is that what causes force to act? What is it which stimulates forces? So I think that factor is the time. Time is that which is causing changes. It's not perceived by the five senses. It can be imagined. You can say that imagination or the thoughts or the philosophy. But there is a certain factor which is moving things, which is keeping a system which is changing every second. Everything is in motion. Just ask yourself, what is that in the entire universe which is stationary? And I hope you can relate to it that nothing in the universe is stationary. Everything is in moving. Now another paradox comes is how to know that something is moving, because you cannot say that something is moving as an absolute measure. I mean, rest and motion, you must have studied in physics that these are relative terms. Suppose you say that something is at rest. So the question comes, according to whom? Who observe that something is rest? And how to know that that observer is at rest? So at that point, we come to the conclusion that whatever analysis we do make, it's because of the information received by our five senses and interpreted by the brain according to the frequencies. But fundamentally, there exist things beyond the analytical brain itself, which cannot be answered by the analysis, by the ifs and buts. So you need to get access to some hyper dimensions, some higher dimensions of consciousness, and it is believed that by accessing those dimensions, you can know everything. Now coming back to the higher dimensions of consciousness, it is being said that human consciousness, suppose this is the human body. So this human body, here consciousness can be mapped with the seven, you can say that seven structured system. So there are called the seven chakras corresponding to the frequency of the consciousness. The first one is Mooladhara, second is Swadhisthana, then Ajna, then Agya, then Vishuddha, then Anhata, and at last, this is the Sahasrarth chakra. So these are the seven chakra system, and these chakras are on the basis of frequency of the consciousness. Because if you just try to observe that what is consciousness, so consciousness has got some metaphysical origin. It is something which cannot be mapped with the physicality. Suppose this is a person, so what we normally perceive as the person, this is the physicality, physical dimension of that person. You can feel it within yourself. Related to this physicality, there is some metaphysical, entity. You can call it as the mind, or the brain, or the soul, or whatever you can say to it, but there exists something metaphysical entity, which in coordination with the brain is responsible for whatever you do in life, you achieve in life. And ultimately it can be very related to the mind-brain system. So certainly we can say that the mind-brain system is itself the combination of the brain, which covers the physical dimension, and the mind, which covers the metaphysical dimension, and both of these are controlled by the time. So you can say that time is the driving force which is keeping everything in motion, maybe physical or metaphysical. It controls everything. So from a discussion right now, you must have realized that time has got very deep roots. It's the fundamental entity which is controlling everything. So if we assume that fundamental entity which is causing everything to move, which is controlling everything, which is the ultimate deciding factor from where you get everything, so it's very possible to understand times in physical interpretations, in terms of something that we can relate to our daily life. So this was a brief discussion regarding does time has a physical existence. I hope you enjoy it. If you have any suggestion or any doubts, you can ask me in the comment section. Thank you. Have a nice day.